The Australian printed this article. The Australian is considered to be a respected, very right-wing publication here. The title was this: EVs might feel right for the wealthy, but they will destroy our planet. Adam Crichton said, imagine the damage should net zero zealots replace 2 billion odd mostly internal combustion engines with EVs. Imagine the damage. Now, guys, this article was so incredibly nonsensical that the only way for me to do it justice is to share the article with you. Pauline Hanson's broadside against net zero policies in her press club speech on Wednesday included a dig at electric cars, products the government wants everyone to pay for, whether they want to or not. The One Nation leader pointed out how their plastic interiors are still made from petroleum and other fossil fuels, putting the lie to the zero emissions claim so beloved of their proponents. She could have gone a lot harder on EVs, which are as dependent for production on subsidies and climate change fanaticism as solar panels and wind turbines. They are also devastating and vastly worse than ordinary combustion engine cars for the environment. And by that, I mean the environment we actually live in, as opposed to the imaginary doomsday one decades hence that is projected by climate models unless we all buy EVs and slash emissions to zero. High-income EV buyers, so the writer of this article says the only people who buy EVs make high incomes, many of whom would honestly believe they are helping the planet, should be appalled that their shiny new BYD is in fact destroying the environment at a faster pace than their neighbour's Ford Ranger, which runs on diesel. On the Electric Viking website, I'll put a link in the description below. We have more articles about electric cars and battery technology than any other website that I'm aware of in the world. So check that out. Link is in the description. And there you'll find our videos and analysis and articles about everything going on in the EV world. The International Energy Agency itself says EVs require 6 times, in fact, more than 6 times, the mineral content of a conventional car during production, including graphite, nickel, lithium, and cobalt. Now, of course, more than 80% of the world's EVs that were sold last year used lithium iron phosphate batteries. So they didn't need graphite, they didn't need nickel or cobalt. Anyway, the author obviously conveniently ignored that fact. They also ignored the fact that those minerals, or batteries, I should say, are recyclable and will last for literally tens of thousands of years, those minerals. But he goes on to say this: no wonder EVs are up to 500 kilograms heavier than traditional cars. 500 kilograms. Really? Melbourne-based Frontier Economics, an independent economics consultancy, is researching whether Australian consumers should be protected from unknowingly supporting environmental damage through their purchase of EVs, especially from manufacturers who source raw minerals from suppliers who have poor environmental practices. So they're saying you must be alerted when you buy an EV that you are causing huge environmental damage. That's the claim here. Pretty bold. In a 2025 research note titled Under the Hood, it wrote of the untold environmental impact of EVs, pointing out how the planned shift to EVs would drive a massive increase in mining activity, along with other significant environmental impacts associated with mining. Now, obviously, the author of this article isn't aware of the fact that the mining will eventually stop because it's a closed loop. In addition to that, the future of EVs is largely based on sodium batteries. Anyway, meeting this demand will require significantly more mining activity and place greater environmental pressure on mineral-rich locations, oftentimes in locations far away and out of sight of EV consumers, says Frontier Economics. Indeed, imagine the damage to Earth should net zero zealots, you're a zealot, by the way, if you believe in EVs, actually try to replace the world's 2 billion odd vehicles, overwhelmingly powered by combustion engines, with EVs, and then update their batteries every few years. update their batteries every few years. So you can see where these myths are coming from. The Australian is intentionally trying to create this idea that if you buy an EV, you'll destroy the planet and have to replace your battery every few years. I quote, that's the exact phrase they used. Literally hundreds of massive new mines that irreversibly destroy their surroundings will be required around the world. Right. Indeed, as Frontier points out, hundreds of thousands of hectares of Indonesian rainforests are set to be wiped out around Wida Bay, where China sources much of the nickel required to assemble EVs using electricity generated by coal-fired power stations. Wow. First of all, about 90%, in fact more than 90% of the EVs sold in China and exported use lithium iron phosphate batteries with literally zero nickel in them. He goes on to say, the government prohibits the importation of illegal, unsustainable logged timber to prevent Australian consumers from unintentionally contributing to environmental harm. Frontier economists also point out, yet the same government says nothing about the permanent destruction of pristine areas of Africa, Chile, the Philippines, Indonesia, and even Papua New Guinea, stemming from mindless EV boosting. Carbon dioxide isn't the only thing worth conserving. If one nation were looking for a tax increase that would inject some industrial and environmental sanity into Australian policymaking, it should roll out a road user charge on electric vehicles, which would raise more than $300 million a year by 2028, according to the Parliamentary Budget Office. As it stands, EV drivers don't pay fuel excise, as in fuel taxes, which is meant to contribute to the upkeep of roads. One nation could also tear down a complex array of state and federal government tax credits, stamp duty exemptions, and subsidies totaling thousands of dollars for vehicles that flow only to EVs, equaling rates of support per car that earlier governments provided Ford, Holden, and Toyota to make cars here, according to a report in The Australian last October. In other words, the Australian is saying, of the billions of dollars the government put into its automotive industry, which is now dead in Australia, the same subsidies are going into EVs. Yeah, that is mind-blowingly stupid to compare the two. He goes on, inefficient, no doubt those subsidies were, but at least we got some full-time, well-paid jobs out of them, quite aside from the accelerated, permanent, environmental damage to poor nations that EV subsidies and tax breaks encourage. The benefits accrue mostly to China, a nation that arbitrarily slaps embargoes and quotas on our exports when it feels like it. That may be true, I don't know. The Albanese government has helped supercharge Chinese EV manufacturers' share of the domestic EV market to almost 60% last year, from half that in 2024. These are vehicles numerous experts across the United States, UK, and Australia have worried could be shut down by embedded kill switches from mainland China. Science and economics are providing inevitable wake-up calls in the net zero fantasy, seemingly in every country except Australia, where governments are ploughing on with ludicrous, obscenely expensive, and globally pointless emissions targets, of which EV take-up is a critical part. Just as climate change has fallen well down voters' concerns compared to only a few years ago, EVs will once again become a niche product for higher income earners. The Australian says EVs will once again become a niche product for high income earners. In other words, in a few years, no one's going to be buying them except for rich elites. Taxpayers will ultimately balk at the absurd cost of providing charging infrastructure, just as they will quadrupling the nation's transmission lines, quadrupling them, to make way for wind turbines that work only a fraction of the day. Quadrupling the nation's... Wow, The misinformation in this article is pretty staggering. Goes on. Debate rages over whether greenhouse emissions from EVs or combustion engine vehicles are greater in total over their entire life cycle. Actually, no, the debate doesn't rage over that. The scientific consensus, in fact, the mathematical consensus is very clear. EVs provide far less emissions over their life cycle than internal combustion. But there's no debate over which type of car causes more environmental damage in the here and now. If buyers care more about the planet they live in, the EV bubble will burst much sooner. So if you bought an EV, you do not care about the planet. In fact, you want to trash the planet, and you're a rich elite, and you're unbelievably stupid because having an EV is clearly a diabolical decision, according to The Australian. Unfortunately, this kind of misinformation, which spreads myths around like batteries dying within a few years and EVs being terrible for the planet, is still commonly printed by the right. And I don't understand that. I mean, for many years, I felt like I was a right-wing person, and I thought a lot of the concept of the right were logical and sound and unemotional. And suddenly the right appears to have become the opposite of that. Misinformation, lies, strong emotion, and really a complete and utter lack of logic. I don't understand what happened. If you know what happened in the last few years to the right, please let me know in the comments because I'm totally baffled. Thanks for watching. Thinking about getting solar, a home battery, or an EV charger? Check out Australia's best free comparison tool because it could save you a lot of money, guys. Click on the link below in the description and you can see how much you can save. Alternatively, give Resync a call. They are the guys who installed my battery and my home solar. I'll put a link to them as well in the description. Need expert advice on what car to buy, what solar system to get, what home battery to get, or potentially for your business? You can get, guys, a one-on-one consultation directly with me, 60 minutes of tailored guidance. This might help you avoid making a huge mistake spending money when you shouldn't, or potentially save you a massive amount of money. Click the link in the description below because I can assist you, and why not? The link is in the description.